I think I need to give my first apology to the ball knowers. I got to kind of walk back something I said on the last show. Welcome back to the Platoon Baseball podcast. I'm Chris Sathy, and I'm joined by the lovely Jesse Paul. How we doing, Jess?
I'm tired.
Tired?
It
You
is,
stay up a little too late?
I did. It is October 28th, 2025. Earlier this morning, there was a baseball game that went 18 innings. Um, yeah, so I'm tired.
Give it, I mean, life of a Blue Jays fan. Pretty excited, but also devastating night.
After, oh man, it was probably the 13th, 12th, 13th inning. I was like, it wasn't exciting anymore. I couldn't believe what was going on, and I couldn't believe that I was staying up to watch most of it.
Did the stress go all the way through the game, or did it like
No,
you said the 13th or 14th and it died off? You're like, what
it
is
died.
happening?
Yeah, it died off, and I honestly, I was like, wanted it to be over, and I honestly didn't care. The good thing about this Blue Jay season is that it was so unexpected, and now that they've made it this far and they're playing the Dodgers, the expectations have kind of gone out the window, and it's we're playing with house money at this point.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
the stress hasn't really been there. I mean, in Game 7, Mariners Game 7, it was there, but it hasn't really been there other than that game. So that's been nice.
Yeah. No, it's the Blue Jays have kind of I can't say walked through the playoffs because obviously there's a 7 game series with the Mariners, but I mean, they've just looked like an entirely different ball club this year. And I think the a big thing that plays into that is getting your superstar signed. There's less conversations, and he can just kind of be himself and not worry about playing for that contract. So, shout out to Vladdy. I mean, he had an insane season, having an insane postseason right now. So,
Yeah, I don't know if you know who Blair Barker is at all, but Blair Barker does the Blue Jays radio and they do some Sportsnet stuff. But he was a former um, MLB player, and he said that Vlad's contract started in the first game of the postseason,
really,
and he he balled out, and he's making that signing look good, kind of regardless of what he does in the regular season. As long as they're making the playoffs and he's playing like this, it doesn't really matter. So,
yeah.
but yeah, we're gonna we'll start with a little game recap. Typically, I don't want to go over games the day after because they get outdated quickly, but this game was history, so we should definitely start with that. But we're gonna get into the new ABS rule. Last night there was a few instances where it might have been beneficial, so we'll get into
Yeah.
that.
Yep. Do you want to run through some of the stats or I
Break
don't know,
records that were broken
records
last night.
broken? Yeah, there you go.
Um, we'll start with 6 hours and 39 minutes, the total runtime for the game. Um, it's tied for the longest ever World Series game, being 18 innings long, but the time that it lasted was the longest ever World Series game.
That that is just insane. I think they did not have this in mind when they implemented pitch clock. They were not ever anticipating an almost 7 hour game. So
How long would it have been if the pitch clock rule was not in effect? I
that's
mean,
actually a great question.
are we getting into like 7.5, 8 hour range? I'm not really sure, but
Yeah, I don't at that point, I don't even know. I don't
and
know what that looks like.
I'm gonna be honest. I was kind of thinking about that. I think the pitch clock went out the window like that late in the game. I saw Nathan Lucas was fouling pitches off and he's walking laps around the on deck circle just because everyone's so gassed. And I think they understand the pitcher needs a minute, the batter needs a minute. I think everyone will be okay with a few seconds of no pitch. So I
Yeah,
think,
I think actually that's a really good point. Like maybe they need to implement, they could give you more time in extra innings. I don't know if that's what they're doing already. I don't know, like you said, were they just understanding the situation and allowing it to happen? Or is that something they can be like, hey, we'll actually implement this rule going forward?
yeah, I think it was just a subjective, impromptu call by the
By
umps or
Mark Wegner?
yeah, or whoever was running the clock.
Yeah.
but it seemed like there was maybe a little bit more time. But I guess for there being it being 18 innings, pretty much two whole games long, 3 hours and 15 minutes isn't that unrealistic for a World Series game. So, and there was a lot of pitching changes, which is also goes in how long it gets. But yeah, that's tied for the longest ever being 18 innings and it being the longest ever time wise. It's pretty nuts.
Very crazy.
The second one I have is about Shohei. I'll read the stat and then I'll give you a second to say a few words. So first four plate appearances for Otani, he had four extra base hits, including two home runs, tying the most extra base hits in a World Series game, set by Frank Isbell in 1906. He's also the first ever player with a three multi-home run games in a single postseason.
I think I need to give my first apology to the ball knowers. I got to kind of walk back something I said on the last show. I I was kind of getting into it about how we're force-fed so much Shohei Ohtani. Maybe it's rightfully so. I mean, what else can you say about the guy? He's the greatest baseball player on the planet. He's just moving up the list of greatest players of all time. Oh, and mind you, he's about to take the ball here in about 6 minutes and start for the Dodgers tonight pitching. So yeah, there's Shohei's the man. I've never seen anything like it. I don't believe anyone else has either.
No,
There's just what else can you say about the guy? He's truly the greatest baseball player in the world.
greatest athlete in the world, greatest
Okay, yeah,
athlete
I'm okay
of
with
all
that.
time.
Oh, I don't know.
Well,
That
it's
discussion can be had in 10 years once he's wrapping it up.
right. It's just unreal stuff. I mean, to be the best, arguably the best hitter in the league in the postseason right now, and to win MVP in your league, and then to shove for 10 strikeouts the last pitching game he had, and we'll see what he does tonight. Honestly, I'm not looking forward to it.
Yeah. I don't want to throw any accusations out here, but a lot of people on Twitter were talking about the home and away splits,
They're talking about the home run. And it's the same thing with the Blue Jays. They play way better at home than they do away. George
which
Springer plays
is
way
how
better
it
at home.
should be.
Agree, but yeah, I think it's too small of a sample size to be like this postseason. Oh, Otani's hitting 169 away with a
Yeah.
homer, and at home he's hitting 330 because he hit three home runs in one game. That's gonna
Yeah.
skew the averages.
Absolutely. Yeah. I
So
just saw a trend I saw on Twitter over the last 24 hours was the home and away splits for both teams, but obviously Otani's going to catch a majority of that attention being
yeah,
who he
so
is.
good
So,
timing here. I just got a text from my dad. Woke up at 1:40 a.m. Turned on YouTube to look for highlights, and there were no highlights available. He then turns on the TV and sees this game is still going, and the first pitch he sees is a Freddie Freeman home run.
wow, look at that.
I told him to not turn on the game tonight. We did not need him
If
to.
you, yeah.
The one pitch he's going to watch is a Dodgers home run. So I told him to stay away from the TV.
Shout out to Tony waking up at 1:40. He's like, I gotta know what happened.
Yeah, he's what we call a highlight merchant.
I
He
love
does
that.
not need to sit through a game, but he loves watching the highlights for the most random games. He will turn on a San Jose Sharks Anaheim Ducks highlights the next day and think it's just the greatest thing of all time.
Well, we won't call this game random because
No,
as talking right now, you're talking about the records broken last night. So it was
this
a pretty
but
prolific game in
but
World
he didn't
Series
know
history.
that. He was
Correct.
looking for the highlights.
That's
But
funny.
he yeah. He doesn't even check the box score. He just doesn't know what happened in the game and then literally watches the highlights to see who won, which is
Yeah,
awesome.
that's great. That's awesome.
So yeah, we got all the Otani stuff out of the way. We got your apology out of the way.
Yep. Sorry, ball knowers. That's on me. Didn't know he was going to shove that right back in my face.
Yeah. Maybe you need to start talking trash about some Blue Jays players, but he is nuts. And then
Are we going to you want to go into Brad Paisley or is there one before that you want to hit?
yeah, let's get all the baseball ones out of the way
Okay.
before we get into the country people. Um,
Gotcha.
Pitchers galore. There was 19 pitchers used in the 18 inning game, which is the most in postseason history.
That is just
Any
what do you do
get
tonight?
the pitcher, the start guy who starts the game goes the entire game. If it's 9 innings, if it's more than that, I might get put in the game.
They're gonna start calling out fans.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
What side do you sit on the day after a game like last night where it went so long? Like the players who played the whole game are standing in the field hitting the entire time. Are we going to see more of an effect on those guys, or are we going to see an effect on the pitching and you're expecting a high scoring game?
I mean,
What
Otani's pitching.
I know. That's
He
what I'm
he
saying.
he was on base what seemed like 20 times,
Yeah,
and I can't imagine how he's feeling, but I think the adrenaline helps in the moment, but I don't know how sore you'd be in the morning.
sure. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what who prevails tonight, whether it's the players or the pitchers.
Yeah, and obviously there's not many people who can comment on what it is like playing an 18 inning game in the World Series with all that adrenaline pumping and then having to play one later that day.
Insane. It's crazy.
Any guess on the total amount of pitches from the
So,
19 pitchers?
from both sides,
19,
total?
you have 19 pitchers.
Um, oh boy. I'm gonna go, good Lord. I'm gonna go like 375.
609.
Oh my gosh. I was what?
There's a lot of
Okay.
pitches.
I suppose some of the, because what? They had a couple, like Eric Lauer came in and provided like some long relief. So I'm thinking more guys who came in had spotted one inning, but you got guys like that. I'm not sure on the Dodgers side if they had anyone like that, but
Yeah, they had to, but 48 more pitches than any other postseason game since 2000, which
wow.
is 48 pitches is obviously a lot.
Yeah, that's absolutely insane.
And then talk about Freddie Freeman quick. He had a solo walk-off home run, obviously. He also hit a walk-off grand slam in game one of the World Series against the Yankees last year. The only hitters who have two postseason walk-off home runs are David Ortiz, Carlos Correa, and Bernie Williams. Freddie Freeman is the only one of those to have two walk-offs in the World Series.
Yeah, Freddie's a man. I mean, I don't know. Freddie's like one of the most likable guys. Freddie's one of the best hitters in baseball, and Freddie's proven to be one of the clutchest players in baseball. So Freddie, I mean, it's funny. You think about a lineup where it's like, all right, we're gonna walk Otani, we're gonna walk Mookie. Well, I guess we'll pitch to Freddie.
Yeah, Mookie hasn't been great. Freddie Freeman, they've honestly been getting him out most of the time, but we were talking about it not too long ago. The career 300 guys. I mean, Freeman's there.
Hmm.
This postseason resume he has is nuts. I would not want to face him in the Fall Classic. That's for sure.
I remember 2021 when he was still on the Braves when they were playing the Astros, and he was an automatic hit every time it felt like. Every time you saw him come up, you're just like, next, please, just get it over with.
Yeah, the Canadian doing it to the Canadian team, unfortunately.
Benedict Arnold.
And then the Brad Paisley effect that you mentioned, Anthony Castrovins, MLB writer, points out that he sings the Star Spangled Banner before really long baseball games. And to be more specific, he sang the national anthem before Game 2 in 2017. Game lasted 11 innings. Game 3 in 2018. Game lasted 18 innings. Game 1 in 2022. Game lasted 10 innings. And now this game, Game 3 in 2025, which lasted 18 innings.
What a bizarre stat.
Yeah, I mean, credit to Anthony Castromans, like I pointed out. Not sure how he dug that one up, but we need more reporters like that pulling out those stats.
Does that stem from being like, oh, I wonder if he's done any other games, and then digging into those games, seeing that, oh wow, they all were in extra innings. It's got to be how that comes around.
Yeah, for MLB revenue purposes, I wonder if they ask him to do more games going forward.
Yeah, for real. That's
I mean, why
so.
not?
Yeah, it's crazy. That's insane. Shout out Brad Paisley.
Yeah. When I see him doing a game, get the popcorn ready, um, get the coffee ready for the morning, whatever you need to do. It's you're gonna be up a while.
No sleep team when Brad's on the screen.
No sleep team. And I think that's all for the historic data.
Just
Uh,
what about your thoughts before we get into ABS going into game four? What's is this a must win or can't lose for the Blue Jays?
you have to win one of the next two, similar to the way they did it against the Mariners. I think you're confident if you get back home and you roll the pitching staff over again, the starters, but you've hit off George Kirby and you can get after Glass now too. But you're concerned about Yamamoto, which should line up to be game seven, I believe. Hello, everybody. This is Jesse making a correction on the pod. First time we've had to do that. Yamamoto is pitching in game six. I had mentioned that he lined up in game seven. Glasnow would pitch game seven if it does get to a game seven. But at that point, it's all pitchers go for the Dodgers and the Blue Jays for game seven. So, if they do get after Glasnow, it's for sure short leash. So the important thing to know is that Yamamoto starts game six. We'll see if the Blue Jays can get it done. They have won the last two. And if not, game seven in Toronto. Enjoy the rest of the pod. So maybe don't take it to game seven.
Right.
But
Yeah.
no, I don't think it's a must win. It always helps to see a pitcher too. They haven't really seen Yamamoto before. I think only like a few guys in the roster had actually ever seen him. So I think seeing him obviously benefits the Blue Jays, and maybe it's different if it does get to a seven, but it's
Yeah.
back
I
at
think
Toronto
I think that's a really fair argument. Seeing Yamamoto in game seven, you guys, if it gets to that point, would probably have a lot better, you know, game against him than it was the other night. Just want to give Yamamoto his flowers too. I mean, two complete games in a row in the postseason is unheard of. Yeah, I mean, you don't hear complete games anymore. So, shout out Yamamoto.
Yeah, stud. I will throw in some more stats though. Any best of seven game series that is tied at one game apiece, whichever team wins game three goes on to win the World Series 69.3% of the time.
Wow.
The Dodgers are favored, so the odds are probably more in favor of them than 69% even. But yeah, it's looking like back-to-back Dodgers World Series the way it's going right now, unless the Blue Jays can seriously turn things around tonight against Ohtani, or at least tomorrow.
Yep, I think you need to just hope Otani's a little gassed and can take advantage of some of those mistakes he might make. So,
For sure. All right. Anything else to add before we move on from the World Series and start talking about ABS?
one more, giving his flowers. Shout out Kershaw. What a getting
Oh,
out.
man. Can we talk about that?
Good to see him get in there.
I mean, they posted a graphic that said, let me pull it up so I don't misspeak. They posted a graphic. Clayton Kershaw, point 0.1 inning, zero hits, zero runs, zero walks, zero strikeouts.
Dog.
I mean, it's point 0.1 innings. Do we need the zero graphic? Obviously, nothing happened. It didn't even
Uh,
he didn't get the strikeout. It was like a ball in play that resulted in an out. Don't think we needed the long graphic for it, but again, I'm just hating
yeah.
because I'm frustrated.
Yep. No, it's good. It's cool to see him get in one. We know this is it for him, and he's not going to have many more moments like this. So cool to see him get in there, getting out for the team, contribute. So
Yeah, him and Scherzer pitching in the same game in the World Series in 2025 is pretty awesome, regardless
yeah,
of the volume of pitches thrown in the game. It's just a
yeah.
cool little crossover.
I don't know if you've ever seen this before, but at one point in time, I want to say
Yeah, I've seen it.
2005, 2006, there were notable starting pitchers who were supposed to go for the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks, and they were replaced by Clayton Kershaw and Max Scherzer. Those pitchers, Randy Johnson and Greg Maddux. So I don't know if that was some kind of way the baseball gods were telling us like these are the next two up, but crazy to look back on about 20 years later. So,
Yeah, it was 2008.
oh wow, I was a little early on that,
But
but
they,
regardless,
yeah, there's a good video of the announcer, and I can't think of who it is, but fans coming to see these Hall of Fame pitchers, and neither of them are starting, and they get to watch 24-year-old Max Scherzer and 20-year-old Clayton Kershaw with a combined three career wins
that's
pitch
awesome.
against each other like it was a bad thing.
Yeah.
But boy, the stories you could tell if you were at that 2008 game now.
Yeah. I can just imagine all these old heads walking in pissed off just because they didn't get to see Randy and Greg go at it. They're like, who are these newbies?
Yeah. Pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Pretty
very
awesome
cool.
moment.
Yeah,
All right. Let's get into some ABS. So
let's do it.
the ABS challenge system stands for automatic balls and strikes. It is a system that was voted on to become an official rule next season in the MLB. So it's not robot umps, it's a challenge system. Very important
Yeah,
to
I
note
think
that.
yeah, I think that's a good point. It's a middle ground. It's something where obviously you have one side of baseball who blames umpires for everything. They think everything should be as accurate as possible. And then you have the other side who likes the human element of it and that not every call is perfect, but it can still impact a game. So I think this is their best way to find a middle and try this new system out in the MLB.
Yeah, so they've tested it, but pretty much what it is the batter, the pitcher, or the catcher can tap their helmet or their hat with their fingertips and challenge the call that was made. I am so glad that managers cannot challenge calls. They would just, with the iPads in the dugout, just being able to see things, it just makes sense for the game to kind of stay in the player's hands and keep it out of the dugout as best the MLB can.
Yeah. Yeah, I like they're making it very clear off the bat like this is between the pitcher, catcher, and batter. There's no looking to the dugout for help. It's like an instantaneous act. I know there's going to be ways
Mm,
around it,
that was what I was, my next question
but
was going
I
to be.
like that at least they're trying to like, hey, like we know there's a sign, there's sign stealing in baseball. That if you don't think the runner on second can relay a sign like, hey, you should challenge this. You know what I mean? So I know those kind of things are going to be, you're going to see those right away. But I think over time they'll be able to develop a system where it's as instantaneous as possible and it really is between the pitcher, catcher, and batter.
Yeah, that's an interesting point because I was going to mention how close some of these calls are and that the catcher is probably going to have the best challenge rate, challenge success rate. Just from the angle they have. The pitchers are falling off the mound, releasing the ball, pulling their heads. I don't think base runners are going to have a great vantage point, to be honest. I don't think that's going to be too much of a concern. My worry is a quick look to the dugout and a coach gives a quick s- signal or something. I don't know how that's going to work. And I honestly don't know if there's a time limit in place or if it's just subjective and it's got to be pretty instantaneous.
I think it's going to be pretty subjective. They're saying it's got to be quick. What does that mean? Quick is
Yeah.
we're all people. We all look at things differently. What does quick mean to an umpire?
Yeah, and the other thing with that is if they're gonna make the players do it quick, you're gonna see some challenges that weren't thought over.
Oh,
Some
for sure.
challenges that were probably unwarranted in situations, low leverage situations. It's gonna be interesting to see how managers coach their players into when to challenge things. If they give certain players the green light and give other players the red light, like I don't want you ever challenging a call.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I was thinking about it earlier, and it led me to when someone steals a base, the first thing the runner does, and sometimes even the fielder, is like they do the headphone sign, like you got to check it, you got to check it. So in my head, I'm thinking, how many of these guys are just gonna right off the bat be like, yeah, you got to challenge that. Like you said, if they do it in a low leverage spot and lose their challenge, the umpire's gonna, or sorry, the manager's gonna be pissed. Like, hey man, we're wasting these. We got to save these for a moment where it genuinely impacts the game. So it'll be interesting to see how the players react to that. And like you said, how the managers actually coach the players. And it could be to the point where only certain players are allowed to do it, to be honest.
I think it makes more sense for you to save almost all of the challenges for your catcher because like I said, I think they're going to have the best success rate and have a better idea what the zone looks like. For a batter, there might maybe a few situations with runners in scoring position late in a game and you get rung up on a call, but that doesn't honestly happen that much if their batters are usually pretty good at trying to protect with two strikes with runners in scoring position in a late game. But I could certainly see a situation where they kind of save them for the last few innings and let the catcher, use his own discretion, which is probably going to be the best way about giving out these ABS challenges.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I also was thinking about what this is going to lead to from studying the umpires. Like, are players going to spend more time studying who's behind the plate that night and what their tendencies are? Because we, as fans, and obviously players, can go on after the game and look at the umpire scorecards. They may even be getting some more data from the MLB or their teams that we aren't seeing either. So it'd be interesting to see if you're gonna. I would imagine umpires who have a less accurate zone, you're gonna see more challenges called on those nights. So.
Yeah, you'd have to think so. And you mentioned scorecards, great website and social media pages on Twitter or X and Instagram, but also on their website, they have the teams totaled up. So what teams favor most from the umpire calls, but they also have data from each individual umpire. So obviously it's not hard to get this data anymore, but I have all of the umpires listed right in front of me and their accuracy.
Yep.
So it's
Yep.
pretty interesting. And there's some umpires who call high strikes. There's some umpires who call low strikes. Like those are things that players, especially catchers, like I mentioned before, are going to have to be aware of to kind of take advantage of the ABS system to its
Yep.
fullest potential.
Yeah, it's going to be the first month with this ABS system is going to be quite interesting to see how it all plays out right off the bat.
Yeah. So we mentioned who can use the challenges. It's the batter, the pitcher, the catcher. Um, Challenges must be made immediately after the umpire's call without the assistance from dugout or other players. How that will be monitored, I'm not really sure. And the call is reviewed by an animated pitch result graphic that shows via the video board. It uses what's called Hawkeye technology,
Yep.
and it pinpoints where that ball across the plate, this virtual plate that ABS has crafted based on the player's height and the dimensions of the home plate, generates that zone and then pinpoints exactly where the ball was. And if the ball's touching that zone at all, it's going to be a strike. And if it's not, it's going to be a ball.
Yep. And I'm glad they thought about the fans in this instance too, because if you're at a game, they're going to put it on the big board um, as soon as it happens. And for the viewers at home, it'll be on the broadcast as well. So you will be a part of seeing that live as the umpires are getting it too. So that's exciting.
Yeah, for sure. Good for the fans. I know they before, we finally get ABS, they didn't like showing where the exact pitch location was because umpires get scrutinized more when, the fans start booing because they see the ball was touching the edge of the zone. So it'll be interesting to see how much harder an umpire's job gets with ABS because now all those calls they get live feedback. And you wonder if they call the game differently as they see, like, ooh, I called that high strike. Do I have to lower my zone? It'll be really interesting to see how that progresses even through a single game.
Yeah, I think it's going to force the umpires to, we're finally creating. There's a zone, and you got to be in it. You can't have like, oh, he's calling him outside tonight. Like I got to adjust. No, there's going to be this zone, and it's going to be regulated. So I wonder what that's going to do for hitting stats. Like we have an established zone. Are we going to see? Are we going to see increased hitting numbers throughout the years because pitchers aren't going to be able to dot up on the outside because they know that's where he's calling strikes tonight? I don't know. It'll be interesting.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm curious if we do see more hitting strikes, but I also think that pitchers that are going to get the benefit half the time too on balls that may be, they're not calling the strike at the knees, but now we're getting that fastball called at the knees. I think it's going to be 50-50. I don't honestly think it's going to be batter friendly or pitcher friendly. I think it's just to make the game more fair, with quotes. Maybe
Yeah.
take that humanistic aspect or limit it because you're not fully removing it.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note, like during the spring, so they implemented this in spring training in 2025 of this, obviously this year, right?
Yes.
Um, there were an average of 4.1 challenges per game, and those challenges took an average of 13.8 seconds. So you can see it's pretty quick, and you're not seeing as many challenges as maybe you thought. I mean, four doesn't seem like that much, but maybe right away it will just because it's new. So
So you mentioned that 4.1 number. I was shocked that there wasn't more. I guess we
yeah,
haven't explained yet. If you correctly do a challenge similar to manager challenges right now, you get to keep that challenge. So you t could technically have as many challenges as you want, assuming you're getting them all right. What I was surprised by was the percentage of successful challenges only being 52.2%.
not that high.
Barely over 50% of the time, the player actually makes a better call than the ump. Not saying the player should make the better call. And there's just these fractional margins of the ball being less than, zero point 0.1 inch off the plate. There's going to be so many times where the ball is just barely nicking that zone. And before everyone is okay with that call because it's so close, and now that call is going to get overturned a lot of the time, or vice versa, where the ball's just offside the plaque.
I think it's going to impact the game more than everybody thinks.
I personally don't. I just think that players aren't going to be as successful as we think. I'm at the 52.2%. There's only going to be four challenges because you're going to lose half of them. And you're going to
And
save them for the leverage situations. If those leverage situations don't come up, a team's not going to use those.
yeah, I think that number will go up as time goes on. In my opinion, I think once we see it more often and we're studying this, I think it will get better, but time will tell. Not sure. We haven't seen too much of it yet.
In spring training, since they used ABS in spring training this season, defensive players, meaning pitchers and catchers, had a 54.4% success rate, and hitters only had 50% success rate.
Wow.
So a 4% difference isn't that much, but may make the difference if you need that last challenge.
Yeah. It's going to be quite interesting to see the situations where challenges are used in bad spots and where challenges aren't used in spots where it's so obvious. So a lot of scrutiny is going to come towards, I think, some players, and it's just going to be all part of it. I don't think it's warranted, but I guarantee you're going to see social media kind of take a take a stance against people who are making bad or calling for bad challenges or vice versa, not calling on ones that are obvious.
Yeah, I agree. It talks about in the MLB article about ABS, it talks about the success rate per inning and how that changes over the course of a game and how the success rate is so much higher at the beginning of a game because players are only calling the obvious one. And then when it gets into those eighth and ninth innings, teams are going to use their challenges and they're going to call any close one and they're probably going to lose it. And they're kind of okay with that just because it's really the last chance they get to use those calls.
Yep, I agree.
So
It's a
I
good
think
point.
I think a lot of the times you may see some like obvious ones in the beginning of the game, which may be lower leverage, get turned over just because they were egregious calls. But then at the end of the game, honestly, I think players are just going to be throwing them out there because they have them and they got to get rid of them because you can't take them home. So they're just going to be using them. And honestly, I don't think it's going to impact the game as much as people think.
I don't know. I'm on the other side. I think you're just gonna see some things that you normally don't. I think there'll be more. I think gonna make hitters understand the zone a little more. I think it may create better hitters. I think it's for pitchers, they're gonna know their zone a little better. I think it'll impact it more than people think, but we won't really know until we get I even the first season, you got to see it a few times and what it really is. So I'm looking forward to it though. I think it's great timing. I'm ready for the change. I'm ready for the adjustment. I'm pretty excited about it.
And we haven't mentioned, but maybe a good timing here with the last night's game going into 18 innings. Every extra inning, if the team is out of challenges, they're going to get one additional challenge.
Yes.
So if you're out of challenges and it's going into the 10th, you'll get that one challenge for the 10th inning. And if you still have that challenge, it's not rolling over. You just have one challenge for the next inning. You're not stacking up challenges.
Yeah, I like that. Talk about high leverage situations, extra innings. I think one an inning past 9 innings is warranted. I
For
think
sure.
those there's going to be situations that matter, obviously. So I like that they're giving them one per inning.
I do as well. I think that'll be good. It's like I said, it's going to be interesting to see, if you use it in the top half of the inning and you don't have one for the bottom half of the inning, how that works out. Maybe does it give an advantage to the home team versus the away team in those situations? Would you rather use it hitting or pitching? We'll see how I would love to see the percentages after a full season of, you know, 60% of challenges are made on the defensive side and only this many on the hitting side.
Sure. Yeah.
But
Is there anything other spots you want to get into on this ABS, the rules and kind of how it's being used before we jump into the next part?
no, I think we got most of it. Like we
Okay.
said, it's going to be quick. It's good for the fans. It's good for the viewers at home, and it's going to be interesting to see how the players, if they pull the trigger and waste a challenge, what happens? Do you bench a player because they use both
Bench
your
them
challenges?
immediately.
But it is
Um,
tested, and it obviously, like you mentioned, we're ready for it. The MLB is ready for it. We've seen how it's already going to work. It'll just be interesting to see it over a full season and into the postseason. That'll be really interesting.
yeah, I agree. Hey, you were talking a little bit before we got on about some catcher framing stats and maybe some of the catchers who are going to be the most successful at this. So I was kind of intrigued by that and was wondering if you could dive into that a little more.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't talked about how catcher value is changed with the new rules, but yeah, Baseball Savant has good page called Catcher Framing Leaderboard, and it pretty much discusses the pitches outside the zone, considered the chased slash waste area, their framing totals. So we have catcher framing runs is the stat. And they also give us a total pitches they've caught. So we have on the top of the leaderboard Patrick Bailey, second Alejandro Kirk, third Austin Wells, which is kind of surprising.
Agreed.
Um, Not really known for his defensive ability. And
I,
then Austin Hedges and Cal Raleigh rounding it off at fifth.
what stands out to me is the amount of pitches these catchers have seen and the total catcher framing runs. Look at Austin Hedges, about half of the rest of the leaderboard, and still with that high mark of 11.
Yeah, this it's not a linear leaderboard. It is the guys at the top are really good at it.
Yeah.
And then you see
Okay.
quite a bit
I
of a
got you.
fall off. Like look at how much higher Patrick Bailey is than Alejandro Kirk, who's in second, and he's so much higher than Austin Wells.
Yeah.
And then the 24th best is at zero.
I don't even want to see Yainer Diaz. I don't want to see it.
Can we find him here? Control F. Oh, he's not even the first Diaz that pops up.
Oh, oh, gross.
47 -4.
Our
But
backup catcher is better, Victor Carantini. I see him on the list there. But anyways, pretty crazy to see this list. I didn't know this existed until you started talking about it.
yeah, it's
So
pretty cool. I mean, they have all the different spots of the zones. You can see who's better at framing the high ones. Patrick Bailey, of course, is better at framing the high ones. The low ones is Austin Wells and Alejandro Kirk. But they have the left side. Looks like JT Realmuto has that side. And then Jose Trevino has another. Shane Langoliers. So yeah, it's super interesting to see. But we were just looking at the totals. So you introduce ABS system. Patrick Bailey frames a pitch. It's called a strike. It's actually a ball. It gets turned over. This chart next year is going to look a lot different because they're not going to have as much value.
yeah,
And there's probably going to be negative value for most of these guys if these framing numbers go down because it ends up being overturned. Or is the challenge, like we mentioned, you only get two challenges? There's still going to be a lot of times where they frame a pitch and it's going to be not challenged.
yeah, agreed.
And it's important that you get those calls on the edge so you don't have to use the challenge.
Yeah, I think it's important to note like ABS is not going to make balls and strikes like there's still going to be wrong calls. There's still going to be incorrect plays. There's not always going to be used like we talked about it. Low leverage situations, you're not going to see it as much. So like don't go into this expecting this to be well balls and strikes are taken care of. They're going to be accurate, 100% accurate every time. That's just not the case. So,
Yeah, I agree for sure. Yeah, it's the ump job is going to be hard. I kind of feel bad for the people trying to become an MLB ump. Maybe they're, coming up through the minor leagues. They've already had ABS now.
yeah.
Is it going to be harder to become a major league ump? And I'm also, people talk about how you pick world, like the umps to go to the playoffs in the World Series. Do you take their challenge numbers into consideration? Like this guy's had the least calls turned over, just bring it to the World Series. Is that how they figure it out? Not really sure.
I think so, and it goes back to the umpire scorecard. Obviously, somebody within the MLB or the umpire union, players union, wherever it is already evaluating the stuff. This is just going to be another stat to um, add to the list where they can verify they're taking the best umps into the playoffs. So it'll be good.
I agree. I agree. All right. Anything else to add to the catchers or ABS or ump scorecard?
I think that's it for me.
That's good with me too. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with Otani tonight, taking the bump.
I agree. I just don't know what to expect. I don't know what tonight's gonna look like, but I'm looking forward to it. I did want to give a one last shout out to one special ball knower, GD.
GD, our biggest
Um,
fan.
biggest fan. Appreciate the kind words, and gonna look forward to actually having him on the pod in the near future, and some other guests coming up too. So
Yeah, we're gonna have a buddy come on. We're gonna have GD on. He's gonna give us some insight into, yeah, he's been to a lot of baseball games live,
a
so
lot of baseball
I'm
games.
sure he's got some good stories for us.
Yep.
Excited to have GD on the pod next time Chris goes to visit.
Yep, it's gonna be fun. And like Jesse just mentioned, we're gonna have Reed Hansen on. Reed's a college, former college baseball player, so he provides a lot of good insight into the game, and he's a big fan just like us. Follows it religiously, so he'll provide some good insight too. So
Yeah, I can't wait to argue with Reed like I normally do.
there you go. Looking forward to it.
All right. Enjoy the game tonight. Otani pitching.
I'm gonna say 5 innings. He's gonna throw about 93 pitches, and he's gonna give up 3 runs.
I'm going to counter and say that he throws no less than 6 and 2/3 because they don't have anyone else to put into the game. He'll be at 102 pitches, maybe more. Not sure you really have a choice unless he's getting absolutely lit up, in which
Yeah,
case they probably put a different starter in the game.
it's gonna be interesting. That
I think it's
this
going to
will
be high
be.
scoring.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's gonna. You're gonna see some managing tonight for sure. You're gonna see how it affects the game.
Don't
So
don't get me started on managing.
you
Not a
want to
fan.
take? Do you want to take a moment?
Yeah, just quickly. Blue Jays had a lot of pinch hitters in the game yesterday, pretty early. Obviously, you don't know they're going to be stuck out there for 12 innings. You think they're only going in for the last few, but Ty France DHs for George Springer because of an injury. He's also okay against lefties. He honestly doesn't have that great of a split, but they put him in against a lefty, and then he gets three at bats, and then Davis Schneider comes in and gets three at bats. How often do you see three players who pinch hit for each other get nine total at bats, and each of them got three?
Yeah, that's I don't know if I've ever seen that one in the box score before, Jess.
I don't think I have either, but they got two combined hits. Davis Schneider got one, Ty France got one. Nathan Lucas batted the entire game. He had eight at bats. Guerrero obviously stayed in. Bichette got pinch hit for by Isaiah Kiner Falefa for the defense to play second base, but also because Bo Bichette wasn't running well. He came in as a pinch runner after Bo was on first. So that is understandable. Varsho played the whole game. One I'm the most frustrated about is Heineman coming in for Alejandro Kirk. You bring him in for the speed. Not that Heineman's that fast, but faster than Kirk, obviously. Kirk had two hits and three RBIs in the game before you took him out.
I think it's important to note too, Jess, like go back to the catcher framing page.
Yeah,
Alejandro Kirk's at the top of what, number two? I mean,
yeah, he's number
he's
two.
impactful in the pitcher's performance. So with us not using the ABS system, it matters more, even more right now. So it's very strange to see someone who's swinging such a hot stick and is so great defensively come out that early.
Yeah, and again, they did it for the speed. I want to say it was like the eighth inning. I could be wrong, maybe the seventh. But Kirk had gotten on, and they brought in a pinch runner, and Heineman got three at bats later and didn't do much. He struck out once, zero hits. So
It's tough. You like you said, he came in the eighth inning. Nobody knew this game was going 18.
no,
I
but
mean, it's just something. I don't know. It's a tough spot for sure.
it's a tough spot. But at the time, I believe it was a tie ball game. It,
If
do
it
you
was the
want
eighth, yeah.
do you want Alejandro Kirk up? Maybe he gets up in the ninth, or maybe there's one extra inning. You want him up in the 10th. I'm not saying that, he needs to stay in for all 18 because no one knew it was going to go that long, but you want to give Kirk the last at bat in the game if he has the chance to hit an RBI. But continuing on with the lineup, they took Barger out. He had two hits and had scored a run. He's been swinging it extremely well in these last few games. Obviously had the grand slam earlier in the series, but Miles Straw comes in for him to play left field. They move Lucas to right. Miles Straw had zero hits, and then that's it. That's it for the pinch
Yeah.
hitters. But it's frustrating. The Dodgers only used two pinch hitters the entire game,
Yeah, it's funny looking at the two sides of that. One's way different than the other.
but they had 15 hits. Dodgers had one more at 16, and that one more was the walk-off homer. So
Yep. Yeah.
that's all I
Well,
got.
let's see if he can redeem himself tonight. He might have to. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
well, appreciate everyone listening. Next topic, undetermined at this time, but hope to come up with an idea here soon and get back in the booth again. So,
Yeah, we'll see what Rito wants to talk about since he'll be on the next one. We might
okay. Yeah,
let
we
him
can look at that.
choose.
Yeah.
But yeah, always fun talking ball with you.
Yeah, where do the ball knowers need to go check out right now? Where can they find us?
We are on Apple Music or Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcasts, and YouTube. on the podcast section. Platoon Baseball. You can look up Platoon Baseball podcast. Should come up. Also follow Twitter at Platoon Baseball.
Expecting some more activity on that soon too. So,
Yeah, we're getting an editor to dial in some clips for us to put some video, some highlights and stuff over top of that. So it should be good stuff.
and as the season gets over and free agency and the off season approaches, we'll try and stay up to date on that too with all the news circulating around and anything else we need to get off our chest. So,
Mhm. Sounds good. See you, Chris.
see ya.